Now I'm going to application examples and case studies. And for example, I'm focusing a bit on mine antennas, mine and tunnel antennas, just because we've got some interesting results. And I think this is virtually the first time some of this has been published. Very difficult to get information on it. So please stick with me. I think they're interesting, whether you are going to use specifically those antennas or not. If you look at mine antennas, we started developing these guys actually 20 years ago. Then we dropped them as antennas because no one bought them. And then IoT became important. And suddenly they're buying it for all kinds of cases. You get linear antennas, Yagis and so forth. And
there's some information, if you can just scroll
on. Okay, sorry. Aha, I've got Stephen reminding me that I've got some pop-ups. So if you look at the linear antenna, and there's measured results that I can share with people if they're interested. After about 200-300 meters, the horizontal component and vertical component is equal. In other words, they rotate unpredictably as they travel down a tunnel. We've seen massive improvements by using circular polarization, because of course the polarization rotates. So if the one propagates better, then that one is the one that propagates. It adapts better with internal dimensions. If you go past obstacles, you find that one polarization often is more successful than another. So in many respects, also the first reflection of a circularly polarized wave do not interfere with itself. They are a tremendous improvement, and I say tremendous, and I'll show you some of the results we've seen. If you look at the tunnels and the frequencies, tunnel propagation is really difficult to predict. We are trying at the moment to get some theory together, but it depends very much on this dimension, the size of the tunnel, and also crucially on the roughness of the tunnel. So we've seen some results, and I'll show them to you, where 5 gigahertz does extremely well. But 5 gigahertz, because every time you reflect, some of the energy is scattered. So as the frequency is higher, they scatter more. So at the very rough antennas, the lower frequencies often do a lot better. You can see the type of antennas. We started live, and certainly we've covered about, I think we've worked out about 50,000 kilometers. Is that right? Underground tunnels. 5,000, I think is the figure. 5,000 kilometers roughly, using these antennas, all at 2.4. So a lot of our experience were gained here, just because Wi-Fi operates there, and people often used pretty simple 2.4 gigs. We're now seeing requests for both LoRa frequencies and LTE, so we've developed Healy antennas for all of those applications. And recently we've done some work with Radiant, which does a very clever mesh system that operates both at 5 and 2.4, and actually massive advantages. We show you some of these results. So we operate at both frequencies, and obviously then you get an additional benefit in that those frequencies are also not the same in propagation, and your chances are much better. We also now developing a new version of antenna that will cover everything from here to here. So it will cover frequencies up to 5, and including the 3.4 to 3.8 gig band. This is a nice test there. It just shows some of the tunnels. This was a platinum mine. And these are the results, like I say, that it's almost impossible to get hold. Everyone seems to keep them secret, but we've been able to get some of these results. And you can see this is a Healy to a handheld device, tablet phone. And you can see that we get good results in a platinum mine. That's not very big tunnels, up to about 155 meters. 200 meters still exceptionally good. I mean, I think all of you can see that a signal value of minus 30 dBm is massive, still a massive signal to noise ratio. If you carry on, sorry, on the left-hand side is the actual received signal, and on the right-hand side is the actual data throughput. So I apologize. That's the signal curve over there. Could never be that good, but it's still minus 60, whereas you can still communicate down to minus 80 to 90. This is the throughput, massive throughputs. If you look at the technology, 80 megabits per second, and we've taken it in this specific mine on a Healy to Healy up approximately 300 meters, and you can see still extremely acceptable levels. Also note this is 2.4, that's 5.8. So in the platinum mine, the 5.8 actually outdid it, we just couldn't use 5 in these tests here. And the ping speeds, by the way, is down to about 3-4 milliseconds, which is certainly 5G type of rates, which you can use to actually drive vehicles and things like that, although they're not yet doing that in mines. Here's a coal mine results. Again, using the Rajant mesh nodes. They're very useful because they just create their own network and adapt. Here you can see we got much better results again at 2.4 gigs. Since I use both, so these antennas are equipped, there's actually 2 5 gigs and 2.4, and it goes both directions. A really advanced antenna that we've developed for use with Rajant. And you can see these are completely different distances. Here we're going up to 700 meters and up to a kilometer. And you can see even up to a kilometer, we were still achieving 20-25 megabits per second rates with very acceptable ping speeds. So massive ranges that can be achieved with heli antennas. Just as an example, some of these mines had normal Cisco radios in with little stubbies on, and there they used one every 50 meters in order to cover a tunnel. So you can imagine this is a really dramatic difference that these antennas make to underground coverage. And of course, we're very interested in starting to use them in tunnels, but that's not yet happened. They should perform as well there. This is an interesting case where there's a stoping area for those people not familiar with mining. This is where the guys actually actively mine. This is an interesting one because it's only 1.5 meter high. Stephen, that you listened to a while earlier, had to go in there and you have to actually work bent. This is why you have to get machines in there. I thought this must be the worst thing on earth to work bent down for a whole day. Here we couldn't fit the access point, so we fired into this very narrow opening. It's about 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter. And here's test points that we measured signal strength at. And it's a fair area. It's about 100 by 100 meter. And you can see over all of these distances, once again, got pretty good results, because here you've got these little supports. And once again, the circular gives you just huge advantages in terms of finding its way through all of, call it this mesh that it has to go through. Point of sale is one of the other famous examples. This is one of the examples where our typical competitors look like this, and they cost very little. Now, in many cases, this guy works, and I have to keep on emphasizing these field test problems. This guy works at some frequencies, so you may be able to do some testing. You may even find some frequencies that works better than this guy. But the problem is that if you start using them at 1,000 or 10,000 different places, you're going to find the operator uses different frequencies. Frequencies in the future may start differing, and you may have just been lucky because this pattern most probably moves up and down, and you could be lucky and it's at the moment down where you test it. You can't determine frequencies when you do field tests. It's normally done by the base station. So this is one of our antennas that's gained real popularity in South Africa. Virtually all credit card machines went over to this antenna from this guy. And in each case, it took 4 or 5 months of showing them results, trying it out in the field. My little example where they started realizing that 98 is better than 90% success. They've also been applied with ATMs. Here you can see the little stubby at the top. This guy here is a proper outdoor antenna, so it's not shown, because where they've then got problems, they can go outdoor and use a decent high gain outdoor antenna. And this is our vending machines. Once again, this is what I sort of say. I look at the direct cost of go refitting, but if this guy's losing money because his vending machine runs empty, that's a cost that most probably could be much larger than the refitting cost. Another nice and interesting case. This is just the guy, author, that said, can we help him? He struggles. He travels around in a RV or motorhome, and we fitted him with a MIMO 1 antenna. And he sent us various pictures like this, but this guy is really one of our best adverts, because he keeps on getting these type of results instead of these. And of course, many cases, you wouldn't even normally get a result. So beautiful results. Once again, making the point that going out and having a decent antenna really makes a difference, especially if you in areas like we travels around. Oops. This is one of my favorite cases. I'm not sure whether we've got the guys on here, but I sat at supper talking to them. This is in a fjord somewhere in Norway, and there's an electric boat, and they would not allow the boat. It travels a long distance, and it's a massive sort of, I suppose everyone knows what a fjord looks like. But unless they had communication, they wouldn't allow the electric boat to go. And this is one of the real extreme examples, and I love it, where there's four high gain antennas on either side, linked to 4 radios, okay, in MIMO mode. And that was the only way they actually get communications all the way through. And being a typical antenna guy, Harvard actually showed me photographs, and you could see his wife screaming at him because all he was photographing all the time was the antennas while she was enjoying the scenery. So vehicle tracking. In vehicle tracking, we sell tens and tens of thousands. And vehicle tracking is in South Africa a big thing because people steal them a lot. But it's also for fleet management, and it's the fleet management guys that first adopted decent antennas. Believe it or not, the first guys just stripped a piece of coax. And like I say, 80% of the time, most probably it worked. But they realized to refit the vehicles is a big hassle. And we designed one that you can just chuck in somewhere, and it's designed with spacing away from metal, so it works in most cases. And our newest version is called the Omni 510, and that's certainly a pretty new product. It's a very nice product if you just want to call it stuff it in somewhere, but you can also double side tape it, and it's got 2 holes for screws. You can neatly mount it on a box or case or anything like that, but you can also just, bluntly speaking, throw it in with your electronics or hide it between the, what do you call it, the stuff in a vehicle, or in a bumper or anything such as those.